Greetings and welcome to Stunthangar Video Hangouts. My name is Charles Carter and I'll be your host this evening. I want to extend to you my gratitude for you watching Stunthangar Video Hangouts. If you are watching this as a replay, I want you to know that I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday evening starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please make a note of this so you can watch or be part of the live stream. Plus, we have an after party following the live stream, which is sometimes better than the live stream portion. You must be a registered Stunthangar Forum member to find the link to be part of the live stream and the following after party. Here at Stunthangar Video Hangouts, we talk about building and flying model airplanes, sport flying, competition flying, and what you've been doing lately. To join our conversation, if you are already a member of Stunthangar Forum, you can find a link if you scroll down to the section called At the Bench. If you're not a member or not logged into Stunthangar Forum, the At the Bench link will not appear. If you are not a member, please register at stunthangar.com/SMF. That's stunthangar.com/SMF. That's Smart Men Flying, courtesy of Jeff Riley. You must place a space between your real first and last name when you register. You must also use a valid email address or Sparky. The proprietor of Stunthangar will not approve you. If you're inclined to not come in, just enjoy watching this on YouTube, wonderful, fantastic. Please enter your questions or comments in the chat box, and I'll do my best to make your comments or questions a part of the show. Understand, sometimes I can't get a word in myself, so be patient, and I will ask our illustrious panel your question or state your comments. And by the way, you only can make comments or questions during a live stream. So like I said earlier, I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday evening, starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you find Stunthangar Video Hangouts that I host, or the many building videos at John's Garage, or Saturday at John's is called, or the coverage at the Nats, or at other contests that Sparky does, informative and enjoyable, please give us a thumbs up. That's a like. And subscribe. And when you subscribe, hit the notification bell and select all, so that whether myself or Sparky comes on, you'll be notified. Share the videos. Comments also help the YouTube Stunthangar channel grow. Please consider joining Stunthangar's YouTube channel memberships, which start at just $4.99 a month, which is less than 17 cents a day. And to join, just hit the join button below, that blue button, and you can start at $4.99. There's two other tiers above that. And you can also show your love and support using the super chat, which is located over here, and you can donate any amount there. And when you do these things, these activities, they help support Sparky with Stunthangar. And your support helps offset some of the expenses. Now, with your memberships, you'll get special badges that Sparky and I can see in the YouTube chat box. We can see who are the supporting patrons of our channel. And you get unlimited replay of member-only videos. And once a month, Sparky has a question and answer show for members only. Now, mind you, Sparky has 50 years plus experience building and flying these model airplanes, so it's a wealth of knowledge. And even John Jordan and others that he's have in the shop with him have lots of experience. So it's a great deal as far as I'm concerned. It's a great value. Now, this is Sparky's YouTube channel. I'm only in here twice a week, so if you want to get in touch with me, go to my YouTube channel at Flying Control Line Stunt. That's Flying Control Line Stunt, and place a comment or question on the 2019 AMA National Championship video, which Sparky shot of me in my first official flight at the U.S. Nationals. and I was flying Sparky's beautiful Junar XL, which is a beautiful plane, which he's actually refinished. He stripped it down and retissued it and redoped it and put a new finish on, because it is one of his best flying planes, according to Sparky. So anyways, well, like I said, if you put a comment or question on that video, I will get it quickly, because that is my channel. This is Sparky's channel. I don't come into Sparky's channel but twice a week. So if you want to get in touch with me, hopefully you have some comments or questions or hints of how I can make the show better. I definitely would appreciate your feedback. I want to thank you for your past, your present, and future support. You are making it happen. Please keep the conversations family room oriented. Just in other words, please don't use words or do things you wouldn't say or do around your children or grandchildren. And also, let's keep the topic on model aviation as well. And anyways, without any further ado, I'm going to post a link now at Stunthangar forum, and that is posted. So let's get rid of that tab, and I'm going to go to what I call the YouTube control panel, so I can see how the stream is. You can take a look there and see what's going on. Hopefully everybody had a good weekend and had a chance to work on something or go flying, and hopefully I have something to share with us. That'd be great. Look forward to some return of the regular usual suspects that come in and support the show with their presence, and also some new people. I'm always posting a link, a reminder on Monday and Fridays about this, and hoping that by chance someone would see it. Many times keep thinking they'll come in, and hopefully they will actually take advantage of that and come on in. Well, I have listed Tom Rammel's the first one in the chat box. Thank you so much, Tom. And he says, like provided. Appreciate that. So we have currently 11 concurrent viewers. We have 5 likes. So if you're one of the 6 who have not hit the like button, please do that. The only reason I'm asking is it helps the analytics of the YouTube channel. So at least during the live show, we get almost 100%. But the replays, people seem to forget to hit the like button. So if you're watching the replay, before you go, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, and that helps the channel. Hi, Bob.
Hey, Charles. How you doing, guy?
I am doing well. I'm glad to see you. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Can't stay real long tonight. I gotta get some sleep tonight sometime.
Yes. No problem. Well, thank you very much for coming in. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So what you been up to?
Working on my Retract twin, trying to get that done. We figured out the Retract mounts and the servo mounts, and they're mechanical retracts in this one. We figured out that the Robart mechanical retracts with titanium struts and a micro servo, a Metal Gear digital micro servo, is lighter than the all-enclosed electric E-flight systems that we have been using. So the 3 of them is going to save me about 2 ounces overall.
Wow, that's great.
Which is huge, for me, 2 ounces.
Well, that's very huge. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and it'll be a lot more. I think it will be more reliable, because those electric retracts ostensibly were not made for competition airplanes. They're made for more fun, those RC foamy airplanes, and they don't get that much use. They're not made for hundreds of practice flights, and there have been some issues with them, and I just don't trust them.
Yeah.
Again, at the Nationals, when I flew the airplane with the E-flight electric retracts, people would come up to me after I flew and they say, "Wow, I love it when the gear goes up." And I said, "Yeah, well, I love it when the gear comes down." So.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you practice mostly on grass or practice mostly on asphalt?
Yeah, my field currently is grass, but I have kind of control of it now. I can roll it and I can mow it as low as I want to, and it's got a fairly flat, smooth area to land on. So I probably can get away with using the retracts on the grass field, but I'd rather have an asphalt field, but I just don't have one right now. Maybe I can go visit Howard.
Yeah. Come on out.
Hey, Howard, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm inking.
Hey, you're what? Inking.
Inking.
Oh, that is really good news then. That means no more paint pull-ups and no more oops or anything. That's fantastic news.
But I'm inking.
I stepped over your words. Say it again.
I don't know about that, but I'm inking.
Well, that's a good sign. And we have Gary Sinclair getting ready to join us. Now, do you have a tape underneath that triangle when you're inking?
No, it's got a chamfered edge.
Oh, okay.
Or
Yeah, that'll work too.
beveled edge. Yeah.
Hey, Gary, how are you?
Yeah, okay. What's going on here?
Yeah, Howard's inking, and Bob has joined us tonight. And so, you still in California, or do you leave California?
No, I'm still there. Sort of.
All right,
Anyway,
that'll work.
Let's see.
That'll work. That'll work.
Well,
I've been, that Strega, the red Strega. I have two Stregas. My red one is it's on its way out. So I'm actually in between planes right now. I'm actually gonna bring back into service the white Strega, and so I'm getting ready to put that back in service. I can get back to flying again. But other than that, I haven't been doing very much, except for I've been teaching Joe Mata how to fly, and we went out last Friday and flew, and that's about it with me. But I had an interesting question for people. You know, these, let me make myself big. Let's see, spotlight for everyone. These things you get with spinners.
yeah.
And my experience has been when I find the one that fits inside the rear cover plate of the spinner, then I got to drill out the hole to fit on the crankshaft. And I resorting to grabbing one that I like with a pair of pliers, holding it, and trying not to deform this thing and drill it out. And there's got to be a better way than that. Anybody have a better?
You got a tapered reamer?
Yeah, I do.
Might try that.
But you still have to hold it, and that's how do you hold it?
Oh, just in your fingers, and just take your hand and.
Can you put it in the back plate first, and then put a little CA in it just to hold it in place, and then ream it?
That's an idea.
That's an idea.
I was just trying to figure out what people do. I find holding it was the biggest problem. Hey, Lynn.
Hey, guys.
I don't know if you saw you probably just came in. I was talking about these guys. These guys look familiar to you?
Yeah, they go on the prop shaft.
Yes. But usually when you find one that will fit in the rear plate of your spinner, you have to enlarge the hole, right? And I end up squeezing it between a pair of pliers and running a drill through it.
Yeah.
And trying not to deform it. And I was just thinking there's got to be a better way. And I thought I would share with you how I've done it. And I was just curious.
Okay.
About how other people do it.
I cheat. I just have a metal one made that's exact right size to fit in the back plate and fit the shaft. So
you have it made by a machinist?
Yeah, I have a friend that has a lathe just around the block here, so he can make things for me.
Oh, that is really nice. Yeah.
Actually, I own a lathe, but it's been on loan to Dean Pappas for 40 years.
That's great.
It's doing you a lot of good.
Yeah.
Well, he can always ask.
We went out to dinner with Dean and his wife last night. They invited us out to dinner for Dean's 65th birthday. So.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
He started to fly some control line again. So I gave him for a birthday present, I gave him a handle kit for one of Kaz's 90mm adjustable handles.
Oh, nice. Hey, Mike.
Hey,
Hey,
guys.
Mike, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah, so I was just so Lynn, what was your solution? I was talking about these things, Mike, Lonky, these things that you get with spinners. And usually when you should I make myself bigger?
No, I know what they are. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I finally find one that will fit in the back plate,
Yeah.
I usually have to drill out the hole, and I'm
Right.
holding it with a pair of pliers and running a drill through it. And someone had Mike, I think Bob originally said to use or maybe it was Gary, about
Reamer.
using a reamer.
Reaming.
And I was just curious, how do you overcome these things?
Well, mine's not very much more technical than your way and probably not very safe, but I hold them in my hand and run a drill through them in my fingers.
Are you just such a tough dude?
Well, if you go slow enough, you can get through it, but
Yeah.
I've drawn blood doing it before, so that's probably not the best way to do it.
I use a round file.
Okay, I've done that before too. I've done that with that holding it and just
If I really need to get the hole a little bigger, I'll use a round file. That's generally what I do, and just keep playing with it and working it around until I get it the size I need it. That way you can go a little bit at a time and not have it go totally out of useful form.
I wonder if you had an old crank or a bolt that was the thread size, if you could heat it up and just slip it on and off real quick and melt it out, if that would work.
that's an idea.
Now, that might
I mean, they
work.
give you get about 6 or 8 of those things in a pack. You could
Yeah,
probably
exactly.
test it with a different size and see if you could just run a hot bolt the same diameter through there and melt the plastic. I don't know if that'll work. But yeah, the old drill is the way I do it. I think maybe I started putting gloves on too to hold it, and just try to run it through, but been there, done that.
That all
All
works
right.
good until the glove wraps around the drill and you tear your finger.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
There's that too. Like I said,
Yeah,
my idea wasn't any better or
No.
safer than any that were being, if you had all the diameters and dimensions, somebody could probably 3D print those pretty easy if we knew someone with a 3D printer.
Oh, that's an
Yeah.
idea. I know, Jim Lee sells these bushings. You can buy them. I think they're like $2 a piece. But I'm always want something yesterday. That's kind of why I'm like haven't taken advantage of that.
So if
Anyways,
you want something yesterday, order it last week.
Yeah.
So Dennis and Brendan, I ask everybody this situation that I find myself in from time to time. You get these things with spinners, right? And you find one that will fit into the spinner back plate, but then you got to enlarge the hole. And I've held it personally in my hand and used a drill. And I was just curious, what do you guys do when you've had that situation? How do you do it? And I've gotten some ideas of a reamer. And how about you, Dennis and Brendan? What have you guys done? Oh, I can't hear you, Dennis.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I bet Dennis has better ideas than me.
Okay, how about now?
I hear you now.
there we go.
All right, I just use a drill press. I do have a tapered reamer, exactly one in my collection. It'll take it to 5/16. If I go beyond that, then I'll use a drill. So generally speaking, I try to drill the spinner backplate to the size I need. If it goes too far, then I'll drill it out so I can use one of the APC adapters, which are typically, I think they take a 3/8 hole.
Yeah. But when you've had to drill that adapter out, how do you hold it? I've held it with a pair of pliers and drilled it out, which is one way. I've used a file and Hey, John.
I hold it by hand and go slowly.
All right. So John, I don't know if you heard what I've been asking everybody about, these adapters for spinners.
Yeah.
and you find one that will fit in the back plate of the spinner, but the hole is small. You got to drill the hole out. And so I was just curious, asking everybody, how do they enlarge the hole and hold the bushing?
That's the hard part, because they're flexible. If you try to hold it with your fingers or some tool, you'll compress it and you'll have an oblong hole in it. Okay, so this is going to sound radical, but since you're planning on using it in that back plate all the time, glue the dang thing in there and then run it on your drill press.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Put it in there with some CA and drill it out.
DA or epoxy, either one.
What a
I've done it in
grand
the
idea.
past, works. Hey, guys.
The reason why I brought it up is this is probably a little bit too extravagant. I don't have it with me. It's in my shop, but I purchased what's called a Collet fixture. And so this thing put on underneath my drill press, you know what a Collet is? It's like usually has 3 points of contact, and this Collet will squeeze and hold it in 3 places, kind of like a lathe chuck will do it. And so, like I said, that's kind of extravagant, but I like tools, and I invested in that to do that, and other things like that. So sometimes when you're doing this hobby, you need to drill a hole in the center of something, and so it's going to have other applications like drilling out dowels, in the center, and because holding round things is always kind of difficult to hold them perpendicular and hold it tight. And it's called a manual fixture Collet fixture. It's kind of heavy, actually.
The nice thing about that is that the collets that are supplied by the spinner, you got a bunch of them that the hole's too small. So you can try it out, and if you ruin it, you still got others to use. But my suspicion is that the plastic is soft enough that you'll get misshaped holes. They may still work because the amount of misshapen may not be that much. But I like the idea best of gluing it in. You got solid support all the way around it, 360 degrees.
I agree.
Yep, that's probably a better point of contact than even the 3 points on a Collet.
Absolutely.
But anyways, I was just curious what people have come across. So, but thank you guys. I appreciate it. Oh, let me catch up on the chat box. Jeff Riley says, "Hi, Charles. Stream is good and like smashed. Thank you very much for smashing that like button. Appreciate it, Jeff." And then Dennis H, he says, "Hi, guys. Like provided as well. Thank you, Dennis." And Jack Snavely, he says the smiley face. He goes, "Yes, like is hit. Thank you." And then Jeff Riley says, "Drill it before you take it out of the molded bracket." Yeah, if it usually has just 2 points of contact though. But yeah, I guess if you go slowly again,
you could try that. Yes.
Yeah, I always thought it would just rip out, but thank you very much, Jeff. It was just something I thought I'd ask tonight.
They're usually pretty tough to get apart there. Seems like you got to twist them.
That's true.
Well, if anybody knows how to do it right, it's going to be Dennis or Bob. They've probably done them before.
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, somebody suggested it again, that you hot stuff it into the spinner and then take a tapered reamer and just carefully ream it from both sides. Try it from both sides until it just slides on. Then you won't spoil the concentricity and probably won't break it loose, so.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Bob. And Joe Mata, this is the guy that my flying buddy.
Hi, everybody.
We fly every week together. So thanks for coming in, Joe. Appreciate it.
Hi, Joe. Or Charles, what you could do is just call up Dean Pappas, who has my lathe, and have him make one for you.
Well, thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Absolutely.
That should do the job.
Yeah. So, Joe, we was talking about these things here. I don't know if you've seen these yet, but they usually are part of a spinner set. You get these bushings.
Yeah, you usually use one and throw the rest in the pail.
Yeah. And John Shukalek, he says liked. Thank you very much, John. Appreciate that. So we have 19 concurrent viewers right now and 11 likes. It's not bad, but let's see if we can get to 100%. And we have 0 chat revenue, and please consider supporting us. And then we have no new members. And if you aren't a member and you'd like to support us, please hit the join button down below, the blue button, and it's just $4.99 a month.
Okay. I got some information for Dennis Adamation.
All right.
Denny, did you get my PM back in response to yours?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
I
well,
don't know.
Yes, no?
So it sounded to me, I thought I could make a case that the Pathfinder is Nostalgia 30.
Well, I got thinking about it after I sent the second one. And actually, there is a case that can be made because the first one that was ever built was built by Pete Peterson. And the Pathfinder came about because Pete was wanting an airplane that he could practice and get better on the pattern with, because he hadn't been flying for very long at that time. Good builder, but wasn't experienced in stunt. And so Gordon handed him the fuselage blank that he had for the chicken series. I talked to you about that in the second email.
Right.
He said he handed him that, and he handed him a rib from his latest Challenger combat plane, and said, build this wing this long and with this rib, and put it lengthen the tail moment a little bit on it, and put it in this shaped fuselage. And so he did, and I think that was 1992, for sure, 1992. And so that would make it now this year nostalgia legal.
Mm-hmm.
So say what?
Along with the impact,
Along with the impact, yeah.
nostalgia 30. Look.
Yep. So and the chicken series, I think I don't know if I've mentioned the chicken series on here. What Gordon did is when an airplane became unflyable, like after a hard landing, usually it destroyed the fuselage to where it was more trouble to fix, but the wing, stab, and elevator, flaps and all that were in fairly good shape. Most of you probably had the same experience. And so what he did is he designed this fuselage, the chicken fuselage, that he could, there was a profile and he could mount in these wings and stab elevators and that, and put it up as a profile. And it got to be kind of funny because for instance, a nobler wing and stab and elevator or whatever parts were good enough to use. What do you think it was called? It was called a noble chicken. And a skylark was called a sky chicken. And a tempest was literally a tempest chicken. And there were lots of others. Guys in the club and group, when they get in that shape, they build that fuselage and slip their wing and whatever they could fix easily in there. And it wound up, whatever it was, the last part of the name was chicken.
Chicken. Wow.
And so those, I'd have to check with Gordon. I don't know how long, but he may actually have some, like the noble chicken may go back far enough to be classic legal.
Wow. Interesting.
But we'd have to check with Gordon on that for sure. But there was sure a lot of chickens flying around here for a while.
Mhm. Well, I think what you're saying is that you could make virtually any airplane of the period. You could make a profile of it and call it a chicken and say it was nostalgia legal. So,
Well, it wasn't just any profile. It had to be the chicken profile.
right.
But I don't know. Gordon would know what, in his knowledge, what ones were made. I just pretty sure. I'm sure 2 and possibly 3 and maybe 1 more that I can't remember what it was, but I remember seeing it fly. And those, if it's if Gordon says that it occurred before the cutoff, then it would be, somebody putting an impact wing in a chicken fuselage, it wouldn't be considered old time or nostalgia legal because the impact wing didn't, well, actually it was old enough to be, it's now legal for nostalgia. But let's just take an SV-22. No, let's make it newer than that. What's one of Randy's newer ones? Anyway, one of the newer ones, or one of Steve Busso's designs, one of Bob's designs, his little, what was the one you were flying at the 95 Nats, Bob?
The 95, well, the Saturn.
Yeah, could a Saturn wing wouldn't be.
But that was designed, that was legal. That was the 92. It was built and flown in 92.
Yeah, it's legal for nostalgia, but it's not, wouldn't be legal for classic.
Its pilot is legal for old time.
Hey, this pilot's older than you. I think I'm legal for rubber band powered control line.
Yeah.
Very good.
I was born after the old time era, so I can't,
Yeah.
I have a question. If the pilot is legal for old time and the airplane is a nostalgia airplane, do you actually then fly in classic?
Well, it could be argued. They might put a special class up for old time legal pilots flying newer airplanes.
Yeah, they should give the pilot a break if he's
Well, I guess it'd have to be if the pilot can do overheads without falling down.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dennis, that I hope that helps with your question.
well, I know that the Pathfinders have been around for a long time, and the thing that brought the discussion up is that reviewing some notes on the Mo Best, and basically have determined that the airplanes as they were presented in the Pampa article and everything like that were clearly designed in 1992 and flying in 93. So I was working on the assumption that they would be legal next year, but the Mo Best is actually a Nostalgia 30 design this year.
Yeah. I think the Pathfinder, but the Pathfinder that would be nostalgia legal would be the first one with the longer wing and what they call full rib high beamer type wing. The problem with that wing, it was a nice wing, had plenty of area in that, but because of the way it was constructed, it would not handle, or had problems handling hard turns if it was heavy. We lost a couple of wings on some. And so that's why the Mark II came out with the shorter wing and the C-tube construction. So that would, this one that Brodak is selling would probably come legal for Nostalgia 30 in 1994 or 5, somewhere in there.
And that's the Mark III, right?
Mark II.
Mark II is what the Brodak sells. Okay.
Yeah. So that's it. And I just made myself a cool $25 tonight.
Yes. Yeah. So I have some comments about the weather in the chat box, and I'll just leave it at that.
Probably
I've
just as
got
well.
rain coming. That's what it says on my computer. Rain coming.
Hey, if you want a good weather comment about flying, though, Angstrom and I did take our twister out again. I think Mark was on here last go around, and he said lowering the KV and trying that. So that's what I did, and we got it out on our twister. We're checking the watt meter and getting the props adjusted and whatnot for different things. And literally, we were a storm front was chasing us down. And we got our last flight up. I thought I had it tuned in right. Got a 3.5 minute flight on it, and Angstrom got it up. And I mean, he was sitting there. You could tell he was sweating bullets because you could see the rain coming off in the distance. You could hear the wind coming and whatnot. And we got that thing down. It was probably started raining with about 30 seconds left on the flight. But I started yelling instructions on who's grabbing flight box and this and that, and we peeled out of there and were able to run off the field. And I guess the other positive thing is using the Spectra lines, we're able to just unclip it and just leave the lines out there and make a dash.
That's a good point. Yeah. That's a big time saver too.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, I haven't had this. We haven't dealt with the steel lines for long, but some people have talked about, the static buildup or the getting shocked by it and whatnot. So we didn't have that potential either. With the lines.
That's another good point. That's right. Unfortunately, where I live, don't have to worry about too much getting shocked. But on the other parts of the country, you can get shocked relatively easily.
Just 120 miles north. Yeah, I used to get shocked.
Mm-hmm.
You used to get shocked on your roof.
I got shocked bad on my roof.
Yes.
No, but I mean, flying a control line airplane with steel lines in 1958, I would, 61, right in that area, I would get shocked on an incoming storm.
Yeah. I remember in 1993 at the Nationals in Lawrenceville, Paul was flying and a thunderstorm was coming in the area. And he got hit really bad. He was dancing out there pretty good.
I'm sorry to laugh, but I think I got a right to that.
Yeah, since you've been shocked before, you have a right to laugh.
Yeah.
You actually entitled to that.
In 2006 at the World Championships in Spain, I was going to be the first one up in the contest and for the first round. And a thunderstorm had just passed through. And I was flying the first electric airplane to be flown at the World Championships. So I got up and I pulled up into the wing over, and immediately I got hit by static electricity, and it was dancing around my fingers, a little blue, thing around my fingers, really bad. And I bailed out of the wing over, and everybody looked out at me, and I said, electricity, like I was in Spain. I'm trying to talk like a European. Electricity. And Billy calls out, he says, yeah, we know it's electric, shut up and do the pattern. So then I said, no, shock. So they gave me another flight. They postponed it for about an hour, then they gave me another flight.
Oh, good.
That was
fair. Didn't help.
Didn't help?
No.
You lost your edge in that hour, didn't you?
What's that?
So you lost your edge in that hour.
I didn't have much of an edge at that contest anyway. So.
Oh.
Tom Creasy, thanks for coming in tonight. Appreciate it.
How you doing?
Doing well, buddy. Doing well.
Great.
What are you doing?
I am silk spanning I call them bi-directional flap systems of Wesley Dick.
Right.
Yep. I got them all stripped. Took a lot of weight off of it. I took about 3 ounces of weight just off of these pieces. Wow. So now I'm putting it back together. Spent all day today sanding them and sanding and sanding. So I'd come online and do some covering.
Very cool.
Yeah, I talked to Wesley Dick today because yesterday I couldn't even get a hold of him. His line was so busy. He said he was overwhelmed by the emails and he was just so grateful.
Great.
And he was so grateful and blessed that there were so many people.
Yeah, I called him on Saturday and saying happy birthday to him.
Awesome.
Yeah, I really love that guy. He's really a great guy. I met him in 2015. I don't think he has a stranger. I don't think he ever meets a stranger. He's so kind to everybody.
Oh, that is cool. I don't think I've met Wesley Dick.
I met him at VSC some years back when he first brought his Velvet out. And really, I'll agree with Tom on that. He's a really nice guy.
He is.
Yeah.
I launched for him at Brodax. He was awesome.
Only thing is, he builds a better airplane than I do.
Me too.
Oh, look
There
at
it is.
that. Ooh, the Velvet. Yeah.
He
Yeah,
got
there he is.
here at the 53 Nats.
hmm That's it. He flew at the 1953 Nats, got a third in stunt and a second or third in combat.
Wow.
And
Wow.
he said when he flew stunt, back then they didn't have signed your flight time or anything like that. He went out like he always did. He flew his first flight around 8 or 9 in the morning and said he was just kind of watching what was going on and went out, flew his second flight around 11 or so. And then went over to the combat circle so he could, keep up with what was going on there. And come back later on, and there were two people who flew between 4 and 5 o'clock that knocked him out of first place into third. So,
Wow.
but he didn't know that the game at the Nats then was to wait till the last possible instant and fly as late as you possibly could to take advantage of ballooning judges and things like that. And the Nats used to literally take all day long. They'd shut it off at 5 o'clock and they'd be flying, or at least the circle would be open all day long. And sometimes they'd go for hours waiting for somebody to fly. So, but at any rate, yeah, this is his, the Velvet he built after he published the design in Pampa Stunt News. And you can see the double slotted arrangement. The first flap moves half of what the main flap moves.
Yep.
All right. So the main flap will move, say, 30 degrees. And at that point, the inner flap moves 15 degrees. All right. So,
Wow.
Yeah, and if you look, it looks just like a Fowler flap, on a commercial airline.
Yeah.
A Fowler flap doesn't go the other way.
Well, yeah, Fowler flaps actually have slides and everything like that. They actually increase the wing area. But yeah, slotted flaps are based on the old Handley Page design and back from the 30s. And there've been double, even triple slotted flaps. I think the 727 was one of the most spectacular arrangements. I think it had a double slotted leading edge and a triple slotted Fowler flap on a trailing edge. And, they set up for landing. That wing would just come apart, it got a lot wider and everything like that, but they were able to get the airplane in on small fields that way. So,
Yeah, engineering.
but the advantage is supposed to be more lift and less drag for that lift. So sounds like a pretty good trade.
Billy Werwich often talks about Wes, and he said that back in the 50s when Billy saw him fly, he said there was nobody that was better at flying bottoms than Wesley. He said he was the absolute bottom champion of the stunt event back in those days.
Mhm.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, Wes talked about that, he said he gave it to Billy to fly it, and so Billy flew it level, and that's all he was willing to do with it. So
That was at Kent. We were at a Kent at that museum, World War II, or that airplane museum, and that was the first iteration of it. And Billy tried to do a loop with it. He said he thought he was going to crash it. The thing wouldn't turn for him. And then subsequent to that, I know Wesley did a lot more development, got it working a whole lot better.
Yeah. Well, he originally set that thing up with more flap movement than elevator movement. And he had these great big flaps, and you needed a doggone crowbar, to overcome the control forces. And that's, well, after the exercise with Billy, he went home over the winter. He opened up the airplane, and he didn't have anything built adjustable. And he literally had to cut the fuselage off to get into it and rearrange the mechanism, and at least got it back to a 1-to-1. And it was flyable. I didn't fly the one in the pictures. I've flown the one he built after that, and it still needs some trimming and stuff. But I thought it looked like it flew pretty. It felt like it would fly pretty well, and it certainly wasn't the situation that Billy put up with. That's for sure. So
well, that was the very first one, and it was early on in the development. Like you said, it had way more flap than it needed, so. It was overstabilizing the airplane, and consequently had much more stick pressure than it should have had.
Yeah.
So is that why he was the bottom king, because it wouldn't turn?
No.
Well, he pull on it, and you think, okay, I'm gonna do a square corner. I'm gonna pull on it, and it's like, hey, the airplane is pulling back. It's pulling back harder than I'm willing to pull on it.
By the way, Wesley was very good friends, or very much a disciple of Don Still, who flew the Stuka Stunt. And Wesley used to fly I think Fox 25 powered Stuka Stunts in the Cleveland and Indiana, Illinois area back in the 50s and early 60s, I guess.
Yeah, they flew Barnstormers originally, and they both got their ideas to put moving flaps on a Barnstormer, and then progressed to the Stukas after that.
Wow,
but,
that's cool.
He did a nice article for us for Stunt News about visiting in Beaumont, Texas, and visiting Don Still. He did a really nice article about that. A nice interview of Don.
Yeah, he told me
I put me together a Don Still Stuka kit and flew it in old time about 3 years ago. I love that plane. Still got it.
Yeah. Wes talks about he was visiting not that long ago. I suppose it was that long ago. It was about 20 years or so. And he was on his way to one of his VSC trips, and he stopped and visited with Don Still down in Texas. And Don talked him into going out to the field and had Wes fly Don's airplane that he flew at the first world champs in 58, was it? Something like that.
Wow.
And Wes has got a hold of this thing, and Still's yelling, "Come on, ring it out, ring it out." And Wes is saying, "I'm flying a piece of history here, man. I ain't gonna do nothing with it."
It's interesting. I think it was 62, if I'm not mistaken, but at any rate, it may have been late 50s. But the airplane, the Stuka, he was told that the Europeans, it was still a pretty sore subject about the swastika on airplanes over there. And he repainted the Stuka that he took red, white, and blue. He did not have the Stuka paint scheme on it when he took it to that World Championships.
Oh.
Wow.
There's pictures of that.
Yeah, and I believe he had a second one. It was black, but all of the crosses, all of the markings had been painted over with like a triangle, some kind of triangular arrangement or something like that. They still were not too kind to swastika equipped airplanes in Europe. He just didn't want to deal with that.
I asked a couple friends that when I did Don Stuka and I was painting it, and I asked a few people about the swastika because I wanted it to be as original as I could get, as a paint job that I got off of images off of Google. And they said, "Well, I don't know, it's just a model. I mean, I hope people didn't take offense.
I have a picture of it here, but I'm not sure I could get this thing to share for some reason. But I have a picture of him holding the airplane that Dennis just talked about with the triangles, and the one that was done in red, white, and blue with the big USA on it. Let me see if I can get this to,
All right.
share. Cool. If not, I'll just print it out and hold it up. Let's see, how do we do this here? Share screen. Window.
By the way, Joe, I muted you. If you want to unmute yourself, just go ahead and unmute yourself. I can't do that for you, Joe.
Sure,
and I
cool
also muted Mike Lonke because Mike, I think you might have there was something in the background when John was talking. So I was trying to figure out who it was. So I muted Brendan and Joe and you, Mike.
No, that's all right. It wasn't me. I was knocking bottles off the tool bench anyway, so I thought you muted me for that. It's okay.
All right, thank you.
I have a question. I'm building this Geeski bear, and I've never built a pipe ship before. And I'm worried that it's going to overheat because I don't know if there's enough holes in the bottom of it. Can I show it to you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know. I mean, Geeski says where the holes are supposed to go, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of holes to me. I'll show you what I got. So there's what we've got. We've got.
Make it big here. Hang on one second.
Yeah.
There you go.
We've got the inlet in the front.
Right.
It's very hollow inside, as you can see right out the back. But there's nothing down until you get to the pipe tunnel. Is that right?
That's all right.
Okay.
And that's sweet looking.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah, it does look good.
Yeah, we're ready for DC 540 tomorrow.
All right.
So it's come along pretty nice.
Yeah, it is.
The key thing on your exhaust for whether you got a pipe in there or not, you want at least twice. I always try for it, twice what you got for the air coming in.
Right. Well, I've got there's lots at the back. I mean, obviously, when the pipe gets down past the middle of the wing, there's lots of hole there. But I just didn't know if there should be any more holes between the front and there.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay. Well,
I don't know, Len. All I can see is if this pipe thing doesn't work out, you got one hell of a battery box there. So.
Well, there's lots of room in there to put it anyway.
Oh man.
So are you gonna fly this at the bean field with the wheel pants?
Oh yeah.
Oh, very cool. All right.
But hopefully I'll have it ready for Brodax and the Nats. Definitely for the Nats, I hope.
Looking good. Now the fences aren't very tall on the stab, huh?
The what?
The fences. The fences
No,
on the
that's what the plans call for.
Oh, okay. That looks bigger from this point of view now.
Okay.
The other point of view, I thought they were smaller than that, like half that size, or even.
No, that's exactly what it's calling for. So
that looks really good.
That's what I did. And it seems like it's nice and straight, so hopefully it'll work okay.
God, it looks great, Lynn. That looks really nice.
It does.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
We'll hope for the best.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. Thank you. I just wanted to get some opinions there as to whether I needed to cut more holes. On the plan, it didn't say so, so I figured, well, I guess we'll just leave it and see how it goes.
I tried to get the screen sharing thing to work, but I'm going to have to do some work in my preferences in order to get that to work. But I did print out the picture and the airplane, and I'm going to go to speak and make me large here. And I'll put this picture up.
Okay, I'm gonna make you big.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
cool. Oh yeah, I see the triangles on the.
Yeah, let's see if I get this a little closer.
I've seen that picture before. I think that looked familiar.
Wow. Oh, interesting. There you go, right there. Yeah.
The Stuka right out of the Stuka.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Those are the two he took to the World Championships that year.
Okay.
Wow. Looks nice.
Yeah.
So that one that's white is red, white, and blue?
Red, white, and blue, yeah.
Okay. Looks nice. Looks nice
Yeah.
even in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Plastics are illegal, and some local guys built ME262s, full-size ME262s. They delivered one to the Messerschmitt family, and they always.
Wow. Howard, your paint job looks outstanding.
Thank you.
You're
You can
welcome.
see-
Looks good.
I can see it behind you.
Oh, the wing, yeah.
Yeah, that looks fantastic.
It's
Wow.
it's kind of tedious to do.
I bet.
Yeah.
Now I know why it's taking you so long. Oh, it looks really sharp.
Thank you, thank you.
Howard, would you mind turning your phone sideways so we get more of a landscape instead of a portrait? Thank you. Excellent. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, started rotating about a different axis.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Excellent.
I just Googled the first FAI F2B World Championships. It was 1960.
Oh, okay.
That's when Still flew that airplane.
Wow. Really cool to hear your guys' stories.
It is. I really enjoy the stories too. I really do.
A lot of history there, and it's really really cool to listen to them, and makes me feel like I was part of it.
Yes.
You are part of it. You are part of it.
I remember when I was back in '78, I was 11 years old, and I remember couldn't wait for my dad to go buy cigars on Sunday at a little shop, and I'd buy myself a Flying Models magazine.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
he'd take me with him, you know, and I'd be thumbing through the pages, and I would see Bob and you know, and all catch up on the nationals and look at the cool planes. And
Now, wait a minute. You were 11 years old in '78?
well, 76 or 78, something like that.
That's depressing.
I didn't mean to depress you. That's just,
That's really
yeah, you guys
depressing.
were like mentors for me, you know.
Good
I just
grief.
love getting the magazines and reading them stories.
I was
Looking at the
17 in
plane.
'78.
I tried to get to the Nats when I was a kid, but
Wow.
never did make it. I think at the time it was like in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah, it was
Was the Nats
79, 79, 82, and what was the other one? 79, 82, and there was another one there, wasn't there?
No, I think that was it.
Was that it?
I think.
Yeah, I have a comment for Tom Creasy. Tom, this is from Frank's Model Aviation Workshop. He
Yeah.
says, is that Tom Creasy? I haven't seen him on the Hangout for a long time, and a couple of hand claps emojis.
Well, thank you, Frank.
Yeah,
Thank you.
see?
Appreciate that. Yeah, it's been some time. Life got a hold of me, and you know, it happens.
It
Glad
happens.
to be back.
So, Frank, how you doing, Frank? Why don't you come on in here? You can show us your, I think he's building a Corsair, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that's a warplane I like.
His is
No,
a
it was-
big RC plane.
Howard, it was 3 years. It was 79, 82, and 87 at Lincoln.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Yeah, I think I was 14 then, 15, like in 79. My math.
Wow. Like I said, it's depressing.
So Frank says, I'm at work. Sorry, I can't join. I understand if you're at work, you can't come on in here. Anyways, we're up to 13 likes. We have 25 concurrent viewers. So please hit the like button. And if you happen to have to leave, please give us a like before you leave. Oh, and now Frank corrected me. He said he's building a P-40E Warhawk.
Oh, okay. I know. I thought there was another Frank. Now I know which Frank it is.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if you knew which Frank it was. Yeah, Frank has his own channel.
We used to every now and then there for a while, every Saturday morning and Sunday morning, like 7 in the morning, we used to get together, just me and him on Hangouts, and we'd build airplanes and, you know, bull crap, you know, and stuff for 3 or 4 hours. We used to do that every weekend. He's a good builder.
Yeah, I've came across his channel. It's called Frank's Model Aviation Workshop, and he builds planes on YouTube.
Hey, Charles, I learned something yesterday.
What's that?
Well, I was running my Rojet 61 on the pipe.
Yeah.
Mounted on a block at the side of my garage, and I couldn't figure out why. In the last week or so, I couldn't get it to go over about 9,000 RPM. It just wouldn't, like, if I turned it up anymore, it would go over the hump and start to just die out.
Right. I know that.
So I went on some of Wendy's old videos, and I found out that the Venturi hole size he was using was around somewhere between 230 and 250. So I thought, well, I'm going to measure the hole size in this Venturi of this motor. It was 170.
Oh,
oh wow.
Yeah, that will kind of slow you down a little bit.
Soon as I took it out, drilled it out, put it back in. Wow, now it runs great.
Yes, that does make a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, huge difference.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out. I'm thinking, why won't this motor go any faster? These guys are running their pipe motors at 10,000, 11,000 RPM. I can't get mine to go above 9, or it just starts to go.
I know. I understand. I totally get that.
I've never run a pipe before, so I don't know this stuff. I'm like, what the heck am I doing wrong? I'm doing something wrong.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I had a friend of mine that I got a hold of just couple weeks ago, and he was running a Rojet, and he made a homemade engine stand, run stand, and he didn't make it very well. And while it was full bore, it vibrated off the mount and caught his wrist right here. And he's been through a couple surgeries. He about lost his life by bleeding to death. It was a pretty bad deal. He's still recovering.
That is so sad.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So he was like, yeah, you tell everyone, you know, make sure when you run a motor, make sure it's a legit, safe engine mount.
Like I made my own stand too, but it's heavy duty everything, and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I'm used to running the big jets like the 70, 76 and the 90. So I mean, I have to have heavy duty or it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, you do.
Oh yeah.
I'm swinging a 15-inch prop. I don't want to have any chance of it coming loose.
Yes.
Wow. I couldn't believe it happened to him.
Yeah, that's sad. It's really, that's terrible.
Sorry to hear.
I mean,
you really got to pay attention of what you're doing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Get out.
Some things you just don't want to sacrifice on quality or strength. Your engine stand is one of them.
Yeah. And if you're not too sure, don't do it. Go find someone and ask.
Well, it's just like running a table saw. Basically, you wouldn't run your table saw with 2 little screws holding it holding the motor in.
Yeah.
Yep.
No different when you're running a model airplane motor. They're turning the same kinds of RPM.
I don't know how many times as a little kid, them little old 4.9s got me. Boy,
They hurt too.
yeah.
Is that your half-ace stunter, Mike?
Yeah, it's one of them.
I thought so.
It's not the one I flew at Brodax last time. This
Okay.
is one I built, and I crashed it while I was trying to get it trimmed out, and it never made it to Brodax. So I built a different one.
Oh, okay.
I've repaired this one. Well, I am repairing this one,
Okay.
and gonna go try to do some more test flying on it and get it
I
trimmed
have a
out.
feeling that's going to be a very competitive event this year.
I think it will be too. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I have a question about that. If I were to go to that and fly a twin 020 powered a twin, would that be considered a half A?
Absolutely. It was discussed in the rules when they were putting the event together.
Okay.
Long as you're under 061 displacement.
Okay.
So whatever gets you there.
That'd be 040. So
Yeah, if you look at if you go on Stunthangar in the half A forum from a couple years ago, there's a big long discussion about what the rules of the event were going to be. And yeah, they pretty much said you could do two 020s if you want.
Cool.
Do it, Bob.
I'm thinking about it.
That's awesome.
What a lively group.
I keep threatening that I'm going to go downstairs and put that Pathfinder together for half day at Brodax, and I just can't seem to break myself out of the chair every night long enough to go do it. Probably be better than what I'm thinking of, than what I'm planning to bring.
What you got there, Dennis? Let me make it big. And Dennis, you're gonna have to unmute yourself as well.
Oh, look at this. Wow.
Oh, you got the wheels on.
That looks
The
really
wheel
nice.
and the battery and the engine and everything all hooked up. Oh, that
Yeah,
looks
I
awesome.
showed it off last Friday. It was basically framed up. And since then I got it all put together. So it's finished.
That looks
That
nice.
looks cool. Nice
And
and done.
so let's see, Dennis H is one of our YouTubers and stuff, and posted he's building one right now, and he started a build thread on it. And so I posted a couple of pictures on that. He's going to be building one. He got the wing dihedral kit and the wing gear kit. And I made that part of the electric conversion because I couldn't figure out how to get the wire fuselage gear going through the battery. It just seemed like it would be a short circuit of some kind. So
Yeah.
That looks
and
nice.
so I kind of went big on.
Is that the 23 millimeter motor?
This is actually a 2808,
Okay.
which is actually just a little lighter than the small 23. So
Are you intending on flying that at Brodax?
actually, we're going to give it away at Brodax. Steve Hines and I teamed up on it. This is the airplane I built as the prototype for the electric conversion kit. All right.
Awesome.
And then Steve originally wanted to team up. He went and bought the power system. And the whole idea was to put it together and then to take it make it a beginner award at the nationals. All right. And we're gonna.
That's too nice. That's too nice for that.
Well, it's whatever. And the idea is we're also going to have. I got an old one of those E-Flight handles. It looks like an Easy Just.
Mhm.
Fit them up with some 40-pound Spectra lines, and whoever gets it is going to be able to take the airplane, walk into the center of the circle, and hook it up and fly it. So
what's the plan at Brodax? Are you gonna raffle it, or what are you gonna do with
I
it?
don't know. Steve said he thought we might be able to give it away at Brodak instead of the Nationals, and we have not really sure what his thoughts are there. He thought maybe we might be able to give it an award at either one of the the ladies basic flight or the kids basic flight or something like that. Same kind of thing. Give it away there. But the idea is
that's got to go to a lady. That's got to go to a lady. I'm gonna start identifying as a woman now.
Don't start that crap, Bob.
See if I
I'll
get
tell
that
you,
thing.
Dennis, I really like that because I have an affinity for the old half-A kits, the old Sterling kits, and
Mhm.
It's a nice
cock
airplane.
changes and stuff like that. I really like that stuff, but I just don't like all the oil that gets it. They get so filthy, even more so than a stunt plane.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
just get so slimy and so gnarly. That would pique my interest in
Yeah.
Yeah.
doing some more half-A stuff for the backyard.
Yeah. Well, this is
It's not
used to
half
be
A
a third.
size.
It's not a half A.
No,
No.
it's not. It's not a half A.
It's not.
No, this is a 38-inch wingspan. They used to sell these things. A lot of guys used to
Oh,
buy them in
geez.
slow combat.
Oh, that's the Sterling, right? The F-51.
A Sterling Mustang,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Where I was looking and the way you were holding it, I thought that was tiny. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize.
It's a nice airplane.
No, but still, all the things you said are still true. I mean, the profile fuselages tended to vibrate and they get bad leading edge, cracks in the leading edge and stuff like that, and they get all oil soaked and they get nasty as heck and
I
everything
got
like
one of
that.
those.
Mm-hmm.
See, Dennis, I think you should give that away to the oldest guy flying an electric twin.
Oh, wait a minute. Then I'll just give it to Wes. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
actually, one of the things I like about this, the reason I'm showing it this way is that these designs here are still Matt Canaya designs. He did, I think, a really nice job of representing the Mustang fuselage.
Yeah.
It's a profile, but he's got there's a lot of shape in there. It's physically, it's quite tall and everything
It
like
looks
that.
really sharp.
Yeah. And the Yak 9 was the same kind of thing.
Yep.
But he had them fitted up with flat, with just flat wings at the gear and the fuselage and stuff, and they
The
didn't end up
dihedral just
looking like much. Yeah.
the dihedral just makes it
Yeah, it
killer.
does.
Oh yeah.
Well,
and it probably puts the vertical center of gravity closer to where it should be on that.
it
design.
does. It
For
does.
sure.
We're almost. It's like a half inch below the thrust line or something like that. It's awfully close. But the scale guys fly something called Fun Scale, which is just perfect for this. And basically, they don't even have a builder of the model in it. They have some kind of criteria that you get some kind of static points, but I think they max out at something like 10 points or something like that. Not terribly out of line. And basically what it is it's an event to take an airplane like this and fly it in a realistic manner. All right. They're trying to promote people to fly the airplanes like they were a scale model, not going too fast, flying them smoothly, flying them through maneuvers that, would be approved for a full scale airplane, things like that. And I was thinking this might actually be a pretty good presence in that. So, and of course, it'd be easy enough since it's electric. It would be easy enough to take a transmitter with it and hook it up to the speed control. You could do some really nice throttle work with it and stuff, taxiing and
That'd
touch
be
and
so
goes
cool.
and stuff like that. And it would be a scale model without the whole crap ton of investment and time and effort in it. So,
Yeah.
So
My wife flies one of the Warbird planes that way in scale. And it works really well for her because it flies just like a stunter. So it's really nice and smooth. And she has the radio control for the throttle as opposed to the 3-line, and it works amazing.
Yeah.
That's the way we set it up.
Yeah, you don't have to mess around with the funny, the
Oh,
big
so much
handle or
easier.
anything
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Exactly. The 3-line setup, unless you're really good at it, is a pain in the you know what. It really
yeah.
is.
Well, yeah, the handle is just too big and heavy. It's like a two-handed handle, even if, it's got nothing to do with the airplane pulling or hard or anything like that, but it's just so heavy out there.
Well, the first year Naomi flew scale, she flew with the 3-line, and she said, "That's it. I'm not flying scale again unless we set up a radio control." So that's what we did.
Yep.
We built that Warbird Mustang and set the radio up to it, and she was just thrilled.
That's really nice, Dennis.
Yeah, thanks.
It is. Good job.
It was, it was fun. And, it's airplanes. I had a Mustang when I was growing up. I had mostly Ringmasters. I had a Mustang, didn't do much with it. I always liked the Yak 9. I thought it was kind of cool,
Did I ever tell you guys my Yak 9
I think
story?
it's cool too. I love that plane. I flew that plane till it just fell apart.
Uh-huh.
I
Did I
love
ever
that
tell you
Yak
my
9.
Yak 9 story?
I don't know, but I don't mind hearing your stories multiple times.
Let's have it.
All right. This was, I don't know, 54. My father, maybe 55. My father had bought me a Sterling Yak 9 for my birthday or Christmas. I forgot which. And it was in the kit. It was still in the kit box. And I was, hopefully planning on building it with my dad. And at that time, Red Reinhardt was working for my father. He worked for my father for 36 years off and on. And we had a downstairs machine shop in our house, and Red and a number of other model airplane flyers were machinists would come work there. And Red and my brother is 9 years older than I am, and they're good friends. And they had an argument going. Red, my brother said he could build an airplane overnight and have it ready to fly the next day.
Wow.
And Red said, not possible, because we didn't have CA in those days, or even epoxy. We had Ambroid or Duco or whatever. So this was like about 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night. And they were arguing, and my brother said, well, I'll show you. I'm going to get my brother's Yak 9 and build it overnight and fly it tomorrow. And then it was for $1. The bet was $1, which back in those days was a lot of money. So he came to me and asked if he could have the kit. And I said, well, no, it's my airplane. He says, well, he says, I'll buy you another one. So I relented and let him start building it. I went to sleep. And sure enough, the next day he had it done. But it looked like an overnight airplane. It was really ragged. But he flew it and he won the $1.
Wow.
And then he tried to give me that. He gave me that airplane, saying, "Here, now it's yours. You can have it." And it's like,
oh yeah, right.
It was a horrendous airplane, and
nice
really,
guy.
and I never did get that another kit from him for that airplane.
Oh.
Man.
I'm sorry to hear that. But
he's 84 now, and I think I'm going to go hammer him up on this.
I think you should.
I think you should too. Absolutely.
Yeah, just have him buy one off of eBay. He's gonna have to pay a couple $100.
Well, I'm going to get one and put the dihedral kit in it, and the landing gear, like Dennis said.
For sure.
That'd be cool.
That's awesome.
That's what I'd do.
But he did win the $1 from Red.
Wow, that's pretty impressive in one night. Wow.
Yeah.
It's funny how we all kind of go back to our roots a little bit when we get older, and we want to build the planes that we built when we first started in this.
Yes, yes.
We're all doing this. It's interesting.
Yeah, I want to build a magician, but it's just got to make time for it. But that's what I would build, be a magician, the big magician, not the junior.
Build it with a thicker stabilizer that it calls for.
Yeah.
All right.
Then
I wish I'd done that.
Yeah, then you won't have to build it twice. So.
Hey, Phil, thanks for coming in.
Hey, good to be here.
Great.
Good to see everybody.
Hi, Phil.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, Phil.
Let me catch up on the chat, you guys. I have a couple messages I'm behind. Dennis H. We was talking about the O2s for the Brodak event, and he says Ford tri-motor with 3.020s, LOL, laughing, or a JU52.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brent Williams, he's in here. He says, "Good evening, guys. Good evening, Brent. Thanks for coming in." And we're at we have like almost 30 viewers and only 17 likes. So before you bail out of here, please hit the like button and consider joining our YouTube channel, and super chats help as well. So please consider doing all those activities.
Hey, Bob.
Yo.
I just thought of, do something with 3.020s, but use TD 020s and run them on a bladder, and you'll have power to boot, man.
Well, that was kind of my plan. I know that Larry Scarinzi probably has a case of O2Os someplace, brand new in the blister packs. And I was thinking about trying to get in touch with him and get a couple of those.
Ooh, you know, I have 5 010s. What could I do with that? 5 TD 010s.
You could have a nervous breakdown trying to get them to all the run.
Hanko 111Z. 5 engines, 2 fuselages. They use it for towing the great big Messerschmitt gliders into the air. You could even make a scale model. So
yeah,
half a link.
Wow.
And Mark, thanks for coming in, Mark Lumen.
And then, yeah.
And I made you big, Len. You want to show us?
Yeah, this was my first airplane in 1976, and I had to build another one and use the same paint scheme.
Wow.
And you know, this thing flies absolutely amazing. I was shocked how well it actually flies now that it's built properly.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
What motor's on it?
Fox 35. Just a Fox 35 with a top flight Super M prop like my original had.
And it flies good.
It flies outstanding. I can do a nice pattern with it. I'm shocked how well it flies.
Yeah, those Goldberg airplanes flew good. The shoestring flew good too.
If they're balanced properly and they're kept nice and light, they fly really well.
Yep.
I have a kit to that downstairs. I may have to think about building it.
And see, notice no muffler to keep the nose nice and light.
Sure.
It just cruises right along. It's outstanding.
Now
I'm
that
shocked
model
how well it flies.
What model's that, Lynn? I didn't catch the model again.
It's actually a Brodak Cosmic Wind. The original one was a Goldberg Cosmic.
Okay. Yeah, the other plane I flew as a kid was the Buster.
Yeah.
Carl Goldberg Buster.
Same series.
And I have a Buster kit as well, so
Cool.
Something to consider.
For sure.
A lot of good flying airplanes from that era. Anybody ever fly a Trixie?
I've heard that name, but I don't know what it looks like.
That was the swept wing airplane from Gillows, right?
Yeah, Gillows swept wing, big swept back rotor. That's where I got the idea for the Crossfire.
Cool.
But that was a good flying airplane.
That's it. That was Lou Andrews' airplane too. I'm sure it was. I'm sure it would fly well. But
yeah,
I only ever saw it in magazine pictures. Never saw one at the field.
I flew that at Union in a contest the day I met Howard Rush.
Really?
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Union, New Jersey. Remember that, Howard?
I remember being there in '71.
Golly, that's pretty, Howard.
Oh yeah.
I like that.
Just
the wing behind you.
And the airplane was good too.
The wing behind you. It's good. It's good to see you too, Howard. But you know, my all-time saying is, anytime somebody says "good to see you," I just tell them it's good to be seen and not viewed.
Yeah.
That wing is sharp. I like that.
That's a wing. I thought that was a windsock.
Oh, Bobby. Ooh, ouch.
Ouch.
That's like tricolor too, eh?
That is.
I like that. That's pretty.
Colors, is it?
Howard, I don't understand. You have a USA number and an AMA number.
That's right. The FAI doesn't, they want to give us our own numbers now. Their own numbers.
Really?
So you got to have the FAI number on your airplane somewhere.
Wow.
Good grief.
I'll be
How
darned.
about that?
Well, same with us. We're gonna have to have when I come down to the nets, I'm gonna have to have my MAC number, I guess, and my AMA number on my airplane.
Yeah.
How ridiculous is it, Len?
Oh,
How
I'm-
ridiculous is it?
I'm so PO'd with that whole thing. So stupid.
Really?
That is a bit peculiar.
I guess I always thought that was one of the things, the FAI was like everybody, they recognized everybody, there was the common ground for everybody in the world. And I guess not so anymore, huh? That's too bad.
Changing
By the
world.
way, I talked to Joe Daly today, and he informed me that Joe Gilbert
Well,
had talked to him and said he's probably not going to go to the Worlds. I don't know why.
Oh.
So Joe now becomes the alternate.
Yeah, Rudner's
That's a
dropped
shame.
combat.
They may not even have it. I mean, that the FAI, probably Robbie said they're belling it over, but they may not even have it due to the world situation. But if they don't, I hope they tell the guys well ahead of time, so you don't have a airline ticket issue.
The CD, there's a meeting. Bill Lee was there, and the CD said we're going to do it. We're going to have.
Wow.
They're not worried about COVID anymore, and.
What part of the country? What part of the country is that in? Is that in the eastern or western part of the country?
Northern. I think it's about 100 miles north of. So.
Okay.
Well, that's good for Joe because his kid's a junior, so they get to go together and they both get to fly. That'll be a good experience for the two of them, right? Great father-son experience.
As a father who has a son who flew at the World Championships, I'm not sure how I feel about. I mean, this is up to Joe, and I support him either way. But going into a world situation like that with my son, I don't know how he feels about that. I'm sure he's thinking about it.
A lot of DNA to lose.
What's that?
It's a lot of genetics.
I didn't hear it. I don't know.
Maybe that's why Chuck Rudner dropped out. Both he and his son were on the.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Mark, try it again.
I was just kind of agreeing with Bob. That's been one of my things for years with like VIPs and stuff like that, and families. You never want to put a whole family on the same airplane. It's just a weird fact of life these days.
Well, I assume that Joe was going anyway with Steven to support him there, right?
Probably so.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great opportunity for him. He called me up today and he was, talking about it a little bit. But you could look at that from so many different points of view.
Yeah.
It is a wonderful opportunity for him.
Well, that's Mark. That was Dave Liu and Tracy Liu, the married skydiving couple. As soon as they had kids, they never jumped together again. They would never get on the same airplane.
Yeah, I mean, there's logic to it. You have to admit there is definitely logic to it. Yeah.
Charles.
Yeah.
I want to tell you, we love that video you sent us.
Oh, good.
It said it reminded you of the lovebirds. That was really cool. I like that.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I thought you would enjoy it. I'm glad to hear that.
I did. My wife did too. It reminded us of. It looked a lot like the older one, Riley, that passed away last year. And that's something like he would do. He would come out of his cage and fly down on the ground and hop around, and then the dog would come in and sniff him. He'd jump on the dog's back.
Wow, awesome.
Didn't bother him. He
Very
just jumped
good.
on the dog's back and ride the dog. Not this dog. The terrorist is. But we'd had Riley for 16 years when he finally passed. Everybody tells us lovebirds don't last that long. Well, That one's 17, and Riley was 16 when he died, but he died a year ago. So anyway.
Hey, Charles, I have a complaint.
Okay.
Yeah, it used to be that Gary Sinclair, you couldn't shut him up. And now you have Joe Motti. You can't shut him up either. Hi, Joe. Haven't even heard from you yet, have we?
You gonna say
Just
hi?
taking all this knowledge in.
Knowledge. That's funny.
Is that what you call it?
Well,
Well, that's more than Gary said tonight right there. So, you know, Gary's asleep.
Yeah.
So you got any questions, Joe, about
No, but I was thinking about your collet, you know, trying to drill out your collets or your bushings.
Yeah, the bushings, yeah.
Why don't you do it backwards? Why don't you put the plastic part in a drill chuck and put the drill in a vise?
Yeah, that's true. That's another way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with my collet fixture, I could do that. I could definitely put the drill bit in the collet fixture and put the bushing in the drill press and then lower. Yeah, exactly.
Just an idea. Just an idea.
Yeah. Well, do you have any questions, Joe, about your franchise twister? Because you got some great people here, great experience.
Where do I start? No, no, I'm just, it's too late for questions. It's already built. Just about built.
We have a few for you, Joe. We want to know the skinny on Charles at the field. What's he like at the field?
Yeah.
Charles is, well, let me put it this way. I don't know if I've ever appreciated somebody that's a little bit anal with the touch of OCD. Okay. So, you know, it's you know, he's got his ways of doing things and always seems to be the right way. So, you know,
I don't know.
This is Charles we're talking about now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
OCD and anal sounds like a born stunt flyer to me. I don't know.
How about it?
Yeah.
How about it? That's funny.
Yeah, no, he's a great teacher.
Yeah, toss in a little prima donna and he'll be complete. So
Get him some white pants and white shoes, and you know, and a shirt that matches airplane. You know,
that's it.
Yeah. Look the part.
Oh,
those days are gone forever, huh, Dennis?
Yeah, that's it.
Never say forever.
Yeah. Never say never.
Well, I would never show up with white pants and white shoes again because you get ribbed for the rest of the week. You get hammered.
I started to say, I was going to say something, but you said again, because the first 3 contests I ever saw you at, you were in white shoes and white pants.
Yes,
looked like you
was
just
Bobby White Shoes.
That was the day.
Well, it's better than Ted Fancer.
How's that?
Gumshoe. That was I kept hearing that, and I said, I finally walked up to him, and I had retrieved his airplane for him, and I walked up to him. He said, "Thank you," and I said, "Ted, I got a question. Why the heck everybody calling you Gumshoe? What that's got to mean something?" He said, "I stepped in some gum, and there you go." I said, "Well, okay." But anyway, Ted is a guy that if you ask him something and he writes it down, it's not a one-word answer. But if you ask him something in person, it's liable to be a very short whatever answer, especially if he don't know you very well. He didn't know me very well yet, but I got talking to him a lot that week, and he's a great guy. I hate that he's not flying much anymore because he's a wealth of knowledge.
Ted.
Yeah. What are you working
Joe,
on?
tell us more about your airplane, Joe.
Charles gave me a kit a couple years ago, and I guess it had been sitting for a long, long time because the fuselage had a bow in it. And so I tried everything to get it out, and it just wouldn't come out. So I just went and cut another one out. Just like 3 inches long. Right now it's 3 inches longer.
Now you know why he gave you the kit.
I think it was unopened. I think.
Yeah, it was unopened. I think it was sealed.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I tried everything to get that warp out, and I just couldn't do it. So, plus instead of adding, instead of gluing another piece on, splicing another piece on the back to kick it back, I just cut out a whole new fuselage. And then I have I put a cowl on the front, and I originally built it with a LA-46 on it. And so I balanced the plane out with the 46, and then it started. I wanted to try shaving weight, so I got the Brodak 40. Put the Brodak 40 on. Now it's turning tail heavy on me right now. So, I had some things that were questionable when I was building, like offset. I was putting a cowl on it, so I had to make sure, I put 1 degree in it, and I didn't know if that was right, or if I should put more or less or whatever. So I left it at 1 degree with like a 1/2 to 1 degree down. And then it's all sanded and it's all primed. It's not sanded, but it's all primed right now. I think everything. I'm just got to finish up the nose ring on the front, and then it's all ready to sand and get going. The wings covered. So just trying to watch the weight on it. It's right now. It's everything. Go ahead.
What have you been flying in the interim?
Go ahead.
While you're waiting to finish that, have you been flying something else?
Well, I flew a couple of. I flew a Ringmaster was my first plane, and then right now I'm flying a combat plane to get my maneuvers, to practice on maneuvers right now, because I figured it'd be cheaper than crashing Ringmasters all the time, trying to, So right now I'm doing flying combat planes to work on patterns.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's about where I'm at. So
I think you meant to say you put a tripler on, not a cowl, right?
Oh yeah, tripler, right? A tripler. So
to give it the look of a cowl. There you go.
Yeah.
And that's on the inboard side?
It's actually on both sides.
Okay.
So the tank and the motor are inset.
Yeah, I get you. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Everything goes back. The doubler goes back almost about 1 inch from the trailing edge. And it just blends in. The tripler just kind of fades away in there.
So when you say it's tail heavy now, have you got everything on the nose when you check that?
Yeah, I put everything together and to weigh it right now before I start painting. And I just, with the 46, it balances nice, but with the Brodak 40, it's tail heavy, but I haven't put it together, so I have the option of shortening the tail also. I don't know how much difference that's going to make, but
you said the tail was 3 inches longer.
Yeah, it's a venturized twist.
I got it. I did it at
3 inches longer than the.
Yeah, I did it at 3. It's actually I think it's actually a little bit longer than the regular, the
venturized twister, I think it's only 2 inches.
I think it's like 2 inches, yeah.
That's right.
Plus it has a bigger tail.
Hey, Bob. Thanks for coming in, Bob Whitley, and also Robert Gore. Thank you. Thanks for coming in,
guys. Yeah. And whenever you want, Charles, I could do that little show and tell we were talking about.
Yeah, fantastic. Was he done with your plane, Joe? I'm sure you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Let me make you big, Bob.
Okay, so we'll just sort of do a little tour around. I might have to move some airplanes. They're pretty damn big for my shop. So
right.
Let me just get the camera view switch. Okay, these are some old timers that a friend of mine, some of you guys from the air show days might remember Russ Grady with his Mustang. He did it for decades. And he was a big free flighter. And he's 91 now and having to get rid of stuff. So he's just giving these away. All I had room for was 4 of them. So if they're all barely run starters, you know, on free flights, you don't really run them for long, a few seconds. So he figured there might be, you know, maybe 10 minutes running time on an engine.
Wow.
And then we got this one. Wow. We'll try and step back to get it in.
Is that a zombie?
Walk around.
Is that a zombie?
No, that one's a spook.
Spook, okay.
Yeah, spook C size.
Okay. What's the other one?
That one is a Berry Light.
Okay.
It's from 1938.
Is that a spark engine in that?
Oh yeah, these are all original.
They're all sparkers.
I'll just get a close up here of the engines for you guys.
Oh, thank you.
Zip around here to the other side.
It's interesting to show that timing setup too on the prop there from your coil. That's just
yeah, this one is let me check what engine that is. That's a Rocket 46.
Wow.
Rocket Super Champion. And
hey Joe, that would solve your tail heavy problem.
Or sorry, this is the Atwood. This is the Atwood Super Champion 60.
Wow.
Nice.
And this one here is a. Let me see here. That's a DeLong 30, I believe.
Wow.
And this one here is quite the beast. I thought I'd taken the pictures of his data sheet on this one. I'll have to go back for it, so I forget what name this one is. But it's big. It's not a Buccaneer, but similar. Yeah. And this engine here is really cool. You look at that.
Wow,
that's a 99.
Wow.
That's a Forstner 99. I didn't know they made them that big.
Wow.
It was just huge. So
nice airplanes.
I figured
Nicely built airplanes.
No doubt.
They're beautifully built. He also had an Oshkosh award-winning P-40 Warhawk 2/3 scale that he built back in the late 70s.
You hear that, Tom?
As well as a SAL. Yeah, SAL 2/3 Mustang also. That was actually designed by an old dear friend of mine, Chris Falconer.
Mm.
And I'll move one of these down here for a moment and set the other one up.
All right. Wow.
Those are nice.
One of these days, I'll get me one of them Sparker motors. I want one really, really bad.
Mm-hmm. I never want one. Never.
I just like the points in. I like the mechanism. I like the whole engine. I like the sound of it.
Yeah, the sound's very unique.
I love them, man.
well, if the glow plugs keep going out of style, maybe all of them.
Yeah, that's true. Might be all that's left.
I looked at several of those spark engines at Dave's one time. It's really just very interesting, you know. I mean, you got for people who don't know, and I don't know a lot about them, but you've got the coil, you've got the point, you've got the, it's just it's like you would think, you know.
I'd probably drive Jim Lee crazy because every time he brings his Sparker out and I'm at an event with him, I'm always asking 50 million questions.
Yeah. Now this is the last one. I had it wrong. This one's the Spook, and the other one was a new ruler with the Super Champion 60 on it.
Wow.
And just get a close up of the engine here. This one has a DeLong 30 on it.
Wow.
So what's the plan? What's the plan to do with these?
Well, part of it was preserving them and, for it, but I'd like to maybe put on RC assist on it for, small control service and go out and fly the things. And, I'm terrified of a flyaway, so I wouldn't want that. But let me get
put a tracker on it.
Change the gear.
You only need three.
Yeah,
three
and
channels,
also
so-
what I was wanting, I picked it so that I had something in B, C, D, and giant class engines, and the 30 and the 46 and the 60. I was thinking in terms of maybe someday one of them in an old time stunt model. Always kind of like Belfry bound. Might do that one. I don't know.
The old Kearns airplane.
Yeah. So, I never expected to get into any sparky ignition motors ever, but my cup runneth over. And I got all kinds of EAA how-to books because I'd loaned all mine out years ago and never got them back. So now I have them again. And he had a bunch of the model engine collector books too on it that he gave me. So, and along with a whole swag of full-size aviation photos that I wanted of his planes and whatnot. So, and I also got a brand new, the old blue and white EAA flight jacket from him.
Wow.
He wondered if I knew anyone that was still with EAA, and I says, yeah, me. So he pulled out this jacket, never been used, and it fit perfect.
Wow.
Like he was saving it for you.
That was cool.
Yeah. So, and the really nice thing is, I'd been sort of out of touch with him for a few years, and it was really nice touching base with an old friend like that. And it's unfortunate that his hands are shot and he can barely use his hands. And I was wanting to take him flying in a full-size plane because he hadn't been up for about 4 years. And he said he'd love to, but he's not going to get in an airplane that he can't get out of if he can't handle the seatbelt or the door in an emergency. It's not a good idea. So it's I would have loved to have gotten him up flying again, though. But anyway, old friends in the hobby. He had probably at least 50 of these, 50 or 60 of these kicking around, all perfectly preserved.
Wow.
And some of the RC guys came by and grabbed about, they said 11 of them. And last spring, I guess Paul Jabot and Bruce Perry went by, got a couple each. So, at least they're going into modelers' hands.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the important
And
thing.
I just missed out on it, I guess about a year and a half ago. He got rid of all his RC stuff, and he had a bunch of Super Tiger 60s that he gave away. I just about cried. And just these are all covered with most of the coloration on it is actually dyed silk span.
Wow.
So there is not a lot of paint on these.
Wow.
I almost did that. Did the dye. It's kind of interesting. Great for like a half-A plane, real light.
Yeah.
I was down in Philadelphia, just south of us here, and I actually happened to have a Tiger 60 on the back seat of my car, and I accidentally left the door open.
Oh.
When I came back to the car, sure enough, there were 2 more Tiger 60s in there with it. I'm
That's
sorry. I couldn't resist.
Oh, that was a good one, Bob.
That was pretty good.
Oh,
It's really good to see you back on board here, Bob. It's
Yeah.
with you for a while there.
Why do I never have that luck?
Actually, I've been coming back on because I anticipated seeing my old friend Jim Vornholt on. He's been trying to get on. He ordered a camera for his computer, and I was hoping he had received it this week and could make it on. He's a really neat guy, really good friends with Jack Sheets. and a spectacular flyer and a super nice guy and a genuine American hero. He flew helicopters out over the ocean rescuing people from the ocean.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's a really, really nice guy. And I was kind of hoping he'd be able to get on here.
Well, I appreciate your hard work trying to get him in here, Bob. I really appreciate it.
We'll get him. We'll get him. He actually he told me on the phone this week that he was actually watching last week when we talked about it a little bit. Yeah. So
you know, I'm sure other guys are trying to help the show too. It does take time to reach out to people and connect and get them in here. So I just want to let you know I appreciate your guys' efforts, you know, and I'm working on it too. In between shows, trying to get new people in here. So I just want to say thank you. I appreciate it.
Jim, by the way, had an ME-262 control line stunt model published in Flying Models.
You're talking about Jim Voorhees, are you?
Jim Vornholt.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Jim Vornholt. And it was a I-beam swept back wing ME-262. A lot of Jack Sheep's influence in it, obviously. But he flew that, I think, at the Nationals one year.
Wow.
I think I have that magazine around somewhere.
I think I've seen it. I don't remember the magazine, but I know I've seen pictures of it.
It was in Fly Models, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, this one plane here, the Spook, it's got modern wheels on it, but I just happen to know where another set of inflatable balloon wheels are. So
if you ever use the inflatable balloon wheels in a contest, just be ready for the guys to tell you you're cheating, because you can land on grass so pretty with those things. Just inflate them about halfway or 2/3 of the way so they're still soft, and they just absorb everything, and you just land. Looks like you landed on asphalt.
What was the brand name of those wheels? They come in a red box with black lettering. Huh?
Trexler.
Trexlers, yeah, right. Red box with black lettering, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 of these airplanes have them.
And they had little tubes that you blow up, and
they
then
blow
you
up.
wrap it around the.
Yeah. Actually,
the guy who taught me how to build
a close up
airplanes
here
had a
for you
set.
guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch the camera. I'll do a close up for the wheels for you to see.
Yeah, that's
wow. Look at that.
Awesome.
Wow.
That ever cool. Yeah, oh man.
That takes me back.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Does that make you feel better, Bob?
How's that?
Well, we've talking about some old days.
Oh yeah, well that takes me back to the early 50s for sure.
Yep, memory lane. And the only fabric that's damaged at all is show you here. There's a little tear on the fin on that one.
Okay.
Well, you could fix that.
Now that's the dyed silk span, so I won't be able to fix it. But I talked to Ross. He said, "Yeah, he figured my idea was cool. I'll just repair it, and I can match the blue or come close to it anyway, and I'll just put some sort of a pattern on to hide it."
Yeah, just paint the top of the fin blue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that will good.
Well, you know, you can still get.
I have some orange Japanese tissue that might match that or close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have some of that too. I'm going to go down and take a look.
You can get some A-line dye and just keep adding it to it, keep putting on coats until it gets that color. That's what I did to fix Rusty's airplane. I just put like 9 coats on it till it matched up. Then it was getting too orange and not enough. It needed some yellow in it. So we sprayed on a coat of yellow. It all sinks in. It's dye. It sinks into the dope. You mix it in thinner and shoot it on the clear, and it sinks into the clear, and you have you get a beautiful color. And you measure the weight of the plane. It didn't gain anything.
That's how I did my Frisky Pete.
Yeah.
That was a good little airplane.
That was a good plane. I knew where that plane was. I don't know now. But
what was the guy's name that bought it? He lived down in Carolina or something, or
lives in Raleigh or out down that way.
Forgot his name.
I'll think of it in a minute. I haven't seen him in about 5 years, but
I haven't heard from him in a long time.
He's an interesting individual, but I don't know for sure. But he He liked that airplane. He told Tom Looper and I, says, "Won't y'all fly this airplane?" And Tommy says, "Well, what the heck if I don't know. That plane flies very fast." Phil said it flew very fast, and if I crash it, I don't know. And he said, if you crash it, we'll work something out. Tommy didn't touch that airplane.
It wasn't that fast, Phil.
No,
it was about a 4.5, 4.6, someplace in there.
Well, it was fast for us. I fly 5.25, and Tommy flies slower than I do. So,
well, it's because you had it on them 12-foot lines.
What? I normally have the longest lines at the field. Today the guys were ribbing me because they said my handle was in the next county. There were 60-foot lines, but we were stretching them out at the end on the side of the circle, and I just was further around the circle, so my handle was further back than everybody else's. But boy, they don't stop you from ribbing. I tell them, I said, I come out here for a little fun and fellowship. What do I get? Made fun of, talked down to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey, speaking of getting talked down to, you cut any ribs out yet?
I'm working on it. I had to back off and try Charlie's. Charles mentioned ironing them on, and it didn't work. It didn't even begin to work. But I got to doing some research, and with our printers, because I have the same one you have, the Epson, you can get sublimation dye to go in that thing. And it will sublimate right now. You get the iron to 400 degrees and it'll sublimate right now.
Really?
But you can't put it in one that you put regular ink in. That has to be fresh. It has to be brand new.
Oh.
So you'd have to get one, just do it just for that. Because that sublimation dye ain't cheap.
What I always do is I print them out. I cut them to the size of the wood, set them on there, and I get my jigsaw and I cut them out, but I leave enough room so I can use the sander, the disc sander, and bring it to the line. And then inside cutouts, I'll drill a hole, use the jigsaw, cut those out.
That's what I do, but I want to put the glue on inside the ribs, and then you don't have any residue on your ribs when you're finished.
Well, I stack my wood up, get back about 4 or 5 feet, and spray so it falls on the wood. So,
with 77, yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, and I do the same thing with the paper, that I printed the ribs of that on. Same thing, and then it's just got, it stays on, but it peels off really easy. So,
yeah.
That's how I do it.
That's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that, honestly. And I've got I've got at least one new can of 3M77 downstairs. I actually have the super hold, which is a little better stuff, but I bought it to put the headliner back in my pickup.
Yeah.
So I might try that tomorrow.
Yeah, try it out on a test piece,
Yeah. I tell you what I did, and I'm kind of sorry I did it now. Instead of cutting those 2 ribs out of 1/16 for the doublers, you cut 4 of them.
Right.
But I had a brain fart. I decided instead of making 2 1/16 ribs, or 4 actually, but 2 for each side, I'd cut 4 1/64ths and put it on either side of the wood, make it like Al Raby does his formers. I didn't think about how much cutting it was.
Excuse me for interrupting. Charles, make Gary Sinclair big.
All right, 1 second. Let's see.
Poor Gary.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Oh.
He's all right. That's normal for Gary. I think Dennis is asleep too.
Yeah, I thought so. Hey, Gary.
Hey,
Gary. Good to see you.
Gary was doing that on Friday too. Taking over Len's job.
I haven't been doing it lately. I've been awake lately.
We're keeping you up.
Oh, Lord.
He was probably dreaming about flying a Steve Woolley's Cobra.
Oh, man. I saw pictures on eBay. Somebody's trying to sell plans, and they have a picture of Steve Woolley holding the original Cobra, and then they've got pictures of, I don't remember the guy's name, but somebody made one a few years ago and painted it the right color and put the decals on it, made it look like Steve's. It was sharp. The only thing wrong with it is that his canopy went out and curved down like the Brodak kit does. And that's not the way the original airplane was. It went out and had a point.
It wasn't Mike Dietrich, was it?
It may have been. I don't know, Bob. I don't know the fella, but he was.
Mike's had a number of Cobras of different kinds. You know.
Oh yeah, he had Cobra 7 and all that. Yeah.
Well, he had a bunch of other ones too.
I don't know. He came to Charlotte one year, but I don't remember his name. I am not blessed with your memory, especially for names. I have a hard time with names. But he was a good flyer. I know that. His plane looked good. I think anyone that knew anything about the Cobra would have been tickled to see it because it really looked nice. And the pond scum green, I had my pictures with me, and the pond scum green was dead on. It was beautiful.
But you know, Gary used to fly with Steve Woodley. Did you know that? They used to fly together. They're in the same club.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Tim Meeks used to fly with him. In fact, he had all of his formulas for laying out an I-beamer.
And all those airplanes were built in Bill Werwich's basement.
That's awesome. Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, Billy told me one time, says, if you build a Cobra, I'll pull you a canopy because I still had the original plug. I was fussing about the fact that the kit came with a canopy that I just did not like because I said that is not like. Go ahead.
The Argus and the Cobras were built in Billy's basement.
Yeah, but Billy still has the original plug, and I was talking to him at, I guess, Nationals or Worlds or something, and he said, "Well, if you get ready to build one, get in touch with me, and I'll pull you a canopy because I still have the original plug." One of these days, I'm going to do that because I just think it'd be an honor to have an airplane with a plug with a canopy on it that Billy pulled.
I got a little news for you guys.
Yeah,
Billy, if you don't know, Billy has a stables. He has horses. I think he has 13 horses. They teach horseback riding and do pony rides and stuff like that. A lot of it for the inner city kids from Cleveland. They have a program where they bring them out there and teach them to ride horses. But at any rate, Billy is putting in 2 control line circles in the back of his property.
That is awesome.
And he asked me, do you think anybody would be interested in having a contest there where they could bring their family and do horseback riding and pony rides and have a hootenanny at night? And do you think that would go over good?
Wow.
Not anybody, everybody.
I volunteered to be the contest director. So
that is amazing.
If he ever does it, please let us know. I'd like to. I want to be there.
Pretty serious about it. You seem pretty serious.
If I missed the Nationals, I would go to that.
Yeah.
I'd miss everything for a whole season to go to that.
Be cool, wouldn't it?
I would think so.
Have a cookout, have a hootenanny at night, and have horseback riding for the kids all day. And
food, guitar, and lots of lies.
Yeah, we'd have some fun.
I've never met him. I'd love to meet him.
He is an interesting guy.
I'll bet.
He can teach you more. He can tell you more in 10 minutes than most people can tell you in 2 days.
Wow.
And Billy just is so matter of fact about it. He looks at something and can tell you how to fix it. And you're sitting there. How does he know this? Because he's had one.
He's done it.
Well, he's worked with someone who did fly one.
Well, I presume we've all watched his video on building the I-beam.
Oh yeah.
We have an echo story. Shooting that video was one of the most hilarious things I've ever done in my life, and one of the most frustrating things I've ever done in my life. Shooting Billy with that I-beam wing video. That was he didn't want to read the voiceovers. I had everything written out, and I had to stunt time it so it would come up at the right place when he was doing those time lapse sections. And I stayed up all night long writing out all these lines for him to read into a computer so I could then put them into the video. And he would never read them the way they were supposed to be read. And I'd always stop him as an editor and say, look, got to read that again. And he would get so mad at me, gotta have him read something like 20 times. And he was like really pissed off at me. It was really funny. But we got it done.
It turned out a good video.
Turned out a good video.
Yeah, I like that. I've seen more of the molding video than I have the I-beam, but I really enjoyed the molding.
I have both.
I should have done another video on the outtakes from all of those videos.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been hilarious.
They were
The
fun.
one I'd love to see the outtakes from was one with Bob Gieske down there in Texas. That had to be fun.
We didn't do a whole lot of outtakes on that. That was shot pretty straightforward right through.
Yeah,
but
but
it looked like it was shot in a prison because we couldn't get the lighting right, and we just had a very small room to shoot in, so it kind of looked like we were shooting in a prison or something, you know.
Well, I tell you what, when the funniest part of it was when he was talking, y'all were talking about the bear, and he said that the top block of that thing was 1/16. Bob got a look on his face like, say what? It's just 1/16. Just 1/16.
Which all mine are now too, by the way. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't say that about my bear. It's still about somewhere between 3/30 seconds and an eighth.
Well,
I'll tell you the funniest one was shooting the very first video for the Stunt Flyer Video Magazine, and I went out there on an acquisition trip. I stopped at Brodax and we shot there. Then I went to Billy's and I went someplace else. I went a whole bunch of places, but we went out to the field and we flew the Geo XL, and I got behind him and put the camera on his shoulder. And I really should have put the outtakes in there because some of those, well, of course, they were all X-rated. Him yelling and screaming at me for, putting the camera on his shoulder and shooting out the lines. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a Bob Gieske one. I'd love to see that someday.
Yeah, it's a Stunt Flyer Video Magazine, Volume 1, Number 4.
Yeah.
I'm out of business now, but I can still get those made if anybody wants them. I still can get them made.
That was my question I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
I actually
Did you
have
make
the
one
Bob
without
Gieske
Raby?
one here. I got it from Lou Scavone.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever make one without Raby?
That was an interesting one. Yeah, we shot Frank McMillan and I went to Al Raby's house, and then we went to George Aldrich's place and shot one with George too.
Oh man, I'd like to see the one with Al and George.
That was interesting. Mm-hmm.
I like both those guys. They were a lot of fun.
Did one with Larry Scarinzi in his shop. And one with Bob Gialdini in his place, and
yeah, Bob was a nice guy.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that.
Is Scarinzi got to ask this question?
Yeah.
Is Scarinzi always like he is at VSC? Because that's the only place I've ever experienced him.
Yeah.
But when he had that brand new Cadillac and he put that little stick up, that 10 on it, help a destitute modeler get home.
Yeah. And people were putting dollars in it. Yeah. He was actually, we were at the hotel and he was filling it up to get ready to go home at the roadway there one year. And, Larry dresses in those old flannel shirts and the old beat up pants and old shoes. And the guy's worth millions. He has so much real estate holdings, it's unbelievable. So at any rate, he's fueling up his Cadillac, and this homeless person comes up to him, asking him, and just getting ready to ask him for some money. And just as he was getting ready to talk to Larry turned around and said, "Hey fella, you got $5? I got to fill this gas tank up, but I can't afford it." The guy just turned around and walked away. That's funny.
Oh.
That kind of reminds me, one day I was at A&W here in Edmonton, and one of the main drags. And anyway, just coming out of there, and there's this guy comes up, says, panhandling for money for food. I told him, well, I don't have any change, but I'll tell you what, let's go into A&W here and I'll buy you something with my debit card. And all I got was an F off from him. And he went off to bother someone else. And about 2 weeks later, I saw him on the north end of the city in a parking lot getting out of a fairly late model car. And he sure didn't look like he was suffering too much.
Yeah.
So his job was panhandling.
Yeah. We used to have a woman.
Let me interrupt you guys since we're not talking about airplanes. I have Tom Rommel. He said this to you, Bob Whitley, that Bill Cole, he used to come in here, and I've been meaning to get in touch with Bill Cole, but he says that Bill Cole is experimenting with a tracker system for his free flight models. I know that you're concerned about the flyaway, so like he's maybe get in touch with Bill Cole. I think he's in the forum, and see what kind of success he's having with this tracker system. And then Mark Lumen said he lost connection again, so he's at the hotel. Doesn't have the best internet. That's why he had to back out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one tracker that I think about, but I don't know how big they are. I was thinking about them for anti-theft on my motorcycles to track them too, since I've had them stolen a couple of times. But Spot Tracker sells a some sort of a tracking device. Like I use a Spot Tracker all the time when I'm flying, and my wife can monitor, or whoever's got the code on my flight. I've got it set on 5-minute hits, but I think they sell something like that, but I don't know how big and bulky it'd be.
They put a tracker system inside of dogs. That's real tiny.
Yeah. We have one put in our dog.
Do something like that.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve.
Now these are fairly big models, so they could carry a reasonable payload, I imagine. But
gentlemen, I'm going to have to bug out. I meant to get out of here earlier, but I got to get up early in the morning and mow my lawn and go to work. So.
Hey, thanks for coming in,
joining us, Bob.
Oh, I thought you were retired.
I have a little afternoon job. I drive a shuttle car for the local car repair place. We take cars back to people, and it gets me out of my wife's hair, and gives me some bad money.
For a while.
Yeah, it's fun.
I did that for a while. It's not enough money to worry about, but it's something to do.
It's not about the money.
I thought you were going to say you drive the shuttle for all the old people to take them to their appointments.
Yeah, well, no, we get a lot of old people, but it's fun. It's a good job. So
cool. Well, thanks, Bob, for coming in. I appreciate it.
Bob, take care of yourself, brother. See you next week. I hope.
See you, Bob.
Take it easy, Bob.
See ya.
Good night, Bob.
Night.
And we got another 4 minutes, and then we'll be transitioning. We'll be moving to the after party, and looks like Steve's came in, and Roberts came in, and these are in the after party at least. So
Steve's in the house.
Hey, Robert.
Party.
I got some orange tissue.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's pretty thin stuff, but it might be just what you need. I can send
it might be what I need for a patch. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want, I can send you a piece or whatever. Just tell me what you need, what size you need. And I'll send you a couple of pieces.
That right now.
Okay.
Let me check that right now.
Make sure you get a little bit of extra anyway. I won't give it all to you, but I'll give you a piece of it, whatever you need.
Yeah. Looks like it's.
What do you want? Like a foot square or what?
Yeah, a square foot to do it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Send me a PM with your address and I'll just mail it to you.
Sure. You're on Stunthangar there under your name, aren't you? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Square foot, that's not a little patch.
No, but he might need a second one sometime. Actually, yeah, I'll send you half a sheet or whatever,
Wow, I really appreciate that, Len.
You got it. No sweat.
Looks like a good match.
Hey, Dennis, I got it put together.
Hey, all right.
Hey.
All right.
Oh, very good.
You are a magician.
Yeah.
So how did you take it apart? How did you break it up?
X-Acto knife.
Okay.
Cut every single little seam.
Wow. Meticulous.
That'll teach you to read the instructions.
I did read the instructions. But
he's building magicians.
But I didn't
Did you read it in the mirror or what?
See, there's a difference between reading instructions and paying attention to them.
Yes, you can read the instructions, but you got to do the instructions.
I looked at the picture and I figured the way it was laid out, it folded up, but it folded the other way.
You guys remember the thing that used to be on the, I think it was Top Flight, always had a little cartoon on the bottom of their pictures, and it says, Harry didn't read the instructions. And on the desk is laying a box that says model airplane kit. He's holding a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, I should have read what was printed on the outside of the parts. It says this, this side out or whatever. Or I don't know if it says printed.
That's all right. You fixed it.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
I remember the day I learned to read directions. It was the day I glued the wing into my first Nobler upside down. The lead outs were coming out the wrong side with epoxy.
Wow.
And then spent the rest of the day cutting it back out again, turning it around. That wasn't much fun.
No.
I did that Saturday to my elevator. I glued it up, or my stabilizer. I glued it upside down on my P40.
Yeah, you can't change it either in a hurry.
No.
Sucks.
No,
You know how they on this magician kit they cut the holes for the rods?
Is this a Brodak magician?
Yeah.
No, I don't know that kit. I know the old kit.
Well, this one's got all the laser cut holes for the rods.
Okay.
And it comes with the parts where you lay it on the table and you have a little block.
Yeah.
Well, I decided instead of putting it up on the little holders, I put the rods in and everything, set it up like you build it without the rods. And the rods hold everything perfectly straight and keeps, once you get everything at a 90, it holds it right there. So I was downstairs working on that, and I thought I was going to be able to show and tell the wing glued together, but I'll knock it out here the next time I go back down there.
Perfect.
Now it's just hitting it with CA. It's all ready to glue up. So
good.
All right,
I'm
guys,
hoping
gonna
to show and
interrupt here.
tell a
Let me
finished vector
interrupt.
Friday.
We're gonna end the live stream, and everybody who's watching, will you please hit the thumbs up on your way out? Make sure you maybe consider the super chat and joining as well. But today is Monday, and we're gonna come back. I'll see you guys Friday, and go outside and do something, and come back and share with us. That'd